I was very excited by the topic, and so I hope I managed to finish in an hour. Okay, so decision-making skills. Everyone can see my screen and hear me. Can we get thumbs up? Okay. All right, so then I'm going to get going. So welcome everyone. We're very excited to have you here at our decision-making skills training. Earlier in the year, we did decision-making for leaders, and we focused on the physiology of making decisions, how you make decisions in your brain, and how you can change your decision-making patterns and habits and so on. And today we're going to be looking at a bit more hardcore skills that you can work on. Okay, just a little bit of housekeeping. Please keep your mics muted and cameras off. The cameras can be very bandwidth draining. So if someone's struggling with signal and everyone's got cameras on, then it's much tougher for them than just with my camera and with my slides on. So if you could please switch off your cameras and keep it muted so that we don't have that many interruptions. The session is being recorded and we will share the link with you guys afterwards. We will post this one on our YouTube channel. We encourage you to ask lots of questions. You can do so by raising your hands or typing your questions in the comment section. And there will be a Q&A at the end of the session. This might go on longer than 12 o'clock, depending on the number of questions and the level of engagement. You are also welcome to email us, either Hevelina, Luzanne, or myself, any questions. Okay, sorry, I'm just going back into the menu and finding whoever's unmuted. Please do keep yourselves muted. It can be quite distracting when someone's unmuted. Okay, and then there's an option to put auto captions on. I know myself, I prefer reading than listening. And the auto captions tend to work fairly accurately. So you can do so by clicking the 3 dots at the top of your screen, scrolling down. I think the symbol's a CC and it says auto captions. You just click on there and you've got captions running at the bottom. Isn't that lovely? The itinerary for today, welcome and introduction. We're almost done with that. Then we're going through our important definitions, the words we need to remember. We find that's a key part of actually understanding the trainings we present. Then the 7 steps to making a decision. And then we'll discuss some skills that are essential to good decision making and focus on analytical skills. And at about 11:50, we'll do a Q&A. But you're welcome to put up your hand, type in the chat. We want these sessions to feel like having a cup of coffee with each other, and engaging with each other and enjoying each other's company. So with that said and done, let's get going. The first definition we're going to look into is decision, a noun, a conclusion, or resolution reached after consideration. A skill, noun, the ability to do something well with expertise. Rebecca, you need to please stay muted. Thank you. And if we look at the definition of decision and skill together, a decision-making skill is the ability to reach a conclusion or resolution after consideration. Analysis, a detailed examination of the elements or structure of something. A problem, a matter or situation regarded as unwelcome or harmful and needing to be dealt with and overcome. Reasoning, the action of thinking about something in a logical, sensible way. Ethics, moral principles that govern a person's behavior or the conducting of an activity, or the branch of knowledge that deals with moral principles. Value, the regard that something is held to deserve, the importance, worth, or usefulness of something, or the principles or standards of behavior, one's judgment of is important.
So I was reading inside. You said reading inside house.
Lincia, mute please. I can't reinforce enough that everyone please keeps their microphones muted. Intuition, the ability to understand something intrinsically without the need for conscious reasoning. And solution, a means of solving a problem or dealing with a difficult situation. All right. It's really important that we stay muted, everyone. Thank you. Just heading back to my slides. So those are our important definitions, okay? The 7 steps of a decision-making strategy, and this is for complex decisions because we're making thousands and thousands of decisions all day long, every day. What we're going to focus on is making the more complex ones, the ones that require thinking. You could apply this to what you're going to have for breakfast in the morning, but kind of unnecessary. That decision is determined by society, what should be eaten for breakfast, convenience and those things. So you don't need to do a full investigation into what you're eating for breakfast. But these tools that we're going to give you today are useful for making the bigger decisions in your life. What university are you going to? What disciplinary procedures to follow with a staff member? All sorts of tough decisions that need to be made. Okay. So you're going to start off with investigating. Identifying the problem, investigate the situation, make sure it's a real problem and not just a symptom. And what I mean by this is that sometimes, say your clients aren't paying you, for example. All right. It's a problem that your clients aren't paying for you, but that's just a symptom. We all know what's going on in the economy at the moment. The real problem is the economy. Everyone's struggling with cash flow. So not just you, all businesses are struggling, all individuals are struggling, and they struggle then to pay you. Okay. So you need to understand that sometimes you're not getting paid. Not just because the person's a bad payer, but there is a bigger problem out there. So is it the real problem or just a symptom? And then you need to start identifying the real problem. Go back to point number 1. Okay, look at it from different angles. See all the different angles that you can look at the problem. Going back to the non-payments of accounts, you can look at it from your perspective, from the client's perspective, from the economic perspective, and see which way you can describe the problem. Okay, and then you use your 5 W's and an H: who, what, where, why, when, how, and you make sure you answer those questions thoroughly and ask as many questions as possible when investigating the problem itself. And when you're done with all those questions, asking them and answering them, then ask yourself, and what more? What more can I say about this problem? Have I looked at it from all the perspectives? Have I found the real problem? Have I investigated the situation? what more can I say about it? Okay. Then you set up a constructive environment for problem solving. Set up an uninterrupted time. It's really, really tough to solve a problem when you're constantly being interrupted by other distractions, okay? Set up a constructive, non-judgmental, and supportive environment for your team, because when we're solving big problems, we don't solve them just on our own. It's useful to have a team of people with you. Okay. And then you set your objective, and that should always be to make the best possible decision for the majority. We'll talk about impact a bit later, but you're not only thinking of yourselves. If you're allowing your clients to come up with a payment plan over 6 months, for example, is that the best thing for you? Is it the best thing for your client? Is it the best thing for the economy? Having some grace, and instead of forcing them into taking loans, for example, to pay you back and then paying the bank back with interest and so on. Okay. Then look for good alternatives. So you've identified the problem, but you need to dig deeper. Look at different tools that you can use, like brainstorming. Use creativity. And when we're looking at alternative solutions, unrealistic is okay, because sometimes the best innovations come from unrealistic ideas. And ask around, get expert advice from other people who have experience in the area, other people who might be able to share another perspective. Explore, evaluate feasibility, risk, and implications. So it's really important that you look at these options. That is it actually going to last your solution? Will this person pay you off? Do they have a job if it's an individual? Is it a client who is actually bankrupt and there's no realistic way of them paying you? The risk involved in allowing your solution to happen, and the implications. Who all is being implicated by the solution? Your impact. Look at yourself, look at others close to you, others not close to you, and the environment. What impact does your solution have? Do a risk analysis, threats and adverse effects. What could go wrong with your decision? Look at the pros and cons list, cost benefit analysis, and ethical impact. There are loads of tools online to help you explore more, and depending on what your situation is, because we're really broad here today, we have from students to CEOs. So I can't be too specific, but there's lots of tools that you can use, risk analysis tools or pros and cons lists, cost benefit analysis, that you can use to help you evaluate your decision. Okay. Select the best solution then. So based on your exploration, you're going to find that solution. There are also various tools that you can use. So say you're changing a policy in the office, and that's a bit of a tough one that people might not 100% agree on, then you could use voting and go with the majority. If there are various styles of voting, there's raising your hand, anonymous ballots, or suggestions. You could also use an analysis matrix or a paired comparison analysis. If you're in that situation, Google is your friend and can help you choose which one is best for which situation. Okay. Then you evaluate, okay? And this seems very much like an overkill, but it's not, okay? It helps you prevent mistakes. My bosses loves the quote, failing to plan is planning to fail. So before you even roll out with your decision, make sure you've gone through everything. Make sure that it's logical, that you've looked at everyone it impacts. You've done your risk analysis, your cost benefit analysis. Double check your sources. So Google is easy. You get like the first, everyone uses just the first page. No one uses the second or third page of Google. But those sources are not necessarily the best source of information. Are you sure that's accurate? What people have you spoken to? Are they truly the industry experts? Sorry, guys. Communicates. This is key to everything. Okay. Communicate, communicate, communicates. Communicate to everyone affected. Make sure those that you have impacted, back in the explore section, know what's going to happen. When you're communicating, be inspiring, engaging, and informative. So make sure that people feel excited and involved, and make sure you give them all the important facts. Get others involved in the implementation. If you're making a implementation within an organization, it takes a team. You're not a standalone. That's why you employ people. And then share the risks and benefits. It's really important to include your team or inform your team of why you're making this decision. We're taking this risk because we think the benefits outweigh the risk. And always practice humility. Sometimes you make a decision and you mess up. So one of the earlier examples I used is choosing universities. And I, as a child, always believed I would move back to South Africa. And I adamantly said I wanted to go to South Africa, particularly in Cape Town, where we have other family members. And I really wanted to go study there. And after a year there, I couldn't. I felt a bit too lonely. I was far away from family because we all know, like Windhoek, everyone's within walking distance. But Cape Town, like it's an hour drive just to get to a different neighborhood. And so then I had to say sorry to my parents and like, I know it cost you a lot of money to send me to South Africa for a year, but I think I'm rather going to study through UNISA from home. And then I moved back home. So remember to practice humility. Sometimes your decision is wrong. And if someone points out an error, something you've done wrong in your decision-making process, make sure you practice humility. Okay. Do we have any questions on these first 7 steps? Are we all good? If you're all good, can we get some thumbs up? Thanks, Rebecca. Ruyan, thanks, all good. Geraldine, it's good. Okay, so we'll go on to decision-making skills, a broad look. So decision-making in itself is a skill, okay, but there are lots of skills that support it. And we're going to discuss some of the skills that are supportive of good decision-making. So the first one we'll discuss is active listening. So just coming to mute. Sorry about that, I'm just muting. Okay. Active listening. Do not listen to respond. Listen attentively to understand, reflect, and internalize what is being said. This will help you see problems from different angles and aid you in coming up with innovative solutions. Your analytical skills. Deconstruct information in the subcategories in order to draw conclusions, collect, organize, and visualize data. This will help you identify the true source of the problem, as well as being able to analyze your possible solutions. Collaboration. Guys, we never work alone. As much as we think we do, there is no industry where you don't work with other people. So the process of working with 2 or more people or organizations to achieve a goal, when solving more complex problems, more minds are better, and you will need to be able to work well with others. Communication. That's definitely a skill I harp on about a lot. Without the exchange of information, you will have nothing. It is essential that in all stages of your decision making, you use effective communication. Critical thinking, rational, skeptical, unbiased analysis fits in with analytical skills and ability to see things from different perspectives. Interpersonal skills. This includes communication, your emotional intelligence, your relationship building skills, your conflict resolution, negotiation, and they all come in hand at all stages of decision making. So really key to be able to work well with people. Your leadership skills, decisiveness, integrity, relationship, problem solving, dependability, mentorship. Again, all these skills are needed to successfully make a great decision. Logic, the study of correct reasoning and good arguments. This is important for the more analytical stages of decision making. And finally, problem solving. Oh, not finally. Do I really need to say more? The better your problem solving skills are, the better your decision making skills will be. And finally, time management skills. This includes planning and conscious control of time, which is really important for decision making. Do you guys have any other skills that you think would be important for decision making? Can you type in the comments what skills you think are necessary to make a good decision? Okay, just in case you guys didn't hear me, please type in the comments any skills that you think are also important. Rian said patience. Magnolia typed emotional intelligence, definitely. So those both fall under interpersonal skills. Empathy as well. Thanks, Nicole. Definitely. Thoughtfulness and understanding, keeping a level head, honor negotiations, definitely. They're all really important skills. Lincia says maturity. All right, so I think that's all. Rebecca, objectivity, definitely being able to take the personal out of it. Sometimes the best thing is disciplining yourself, for example. Processing available information about the problem, the analytical skills, definitely, Johannes. Sibagani and conditional acceptance. That's a bit of a gray area, that one, because you shouldn't let people bully you. You have to have your boundaries. Ulrich says humility. Okay, good. No questions so far? All happy? Yep. Okay. So on to the next section. All right, this is where we're going to spend some time looking at analytical skills. If you're more into the soft side, I see a lot of you guys were talking about the soft skills, the emotional intelligence, and the interpersonal skills. Definitely very important, but we're offering a separate training on emotional intelligence next month. And if you guys are interested, you can always join that one. Okay, analytical skills are the abilities which allow you to collect, organize, visualize, and assimilate data. They let you see patterns, draw conclusions, and find solutions that can boost your employee productivity and company's bottom line's performance. We find this is one of the key skills in decision making. Why? It helps you to adapt to problems or new situations. It empowers you to find an objective and fair solution that is well thought out, and it allows for out-of-the-box thinking. It's really important to be able to bend your mind to see things from other people's perspectives or from a new perspective or a new way of thinking. All right, so analytical skills, brainstorming. Brainstorming is when we get together with the right people, get the experts in the right areas. And when brainstorming, it's important to remember to leave rank, role, and position at the door. Okay. It is really important that you're all out there pouring your hearts out, and there will be bad ideas, there will be great ideas, but we're not going to judge each other, and we're not going to hold back because someone's more senior than us, or be rude to someone because we think we're superior to them. Okay, so we leave our rank and role at the door. It's important to be prepared beforehand when you do a brainstorming session. Know what you're going in to achieve, what problems you're going to look at, and make sure you communicate the location, time, and objective to everyone, that they know how they need to prepare, where they need to be, and when. Okay, make sure you give people sufficient notice. I see this all too often. Someone has an idea that they want to run with, and they're like, go, 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 go. But other people also have deadlines and schedules. So you need to make sure that it is all aligned and that people have sufficient time to prepare. You also need to have a clear goal when brainstorming, and it should definitely be a non-judgmental exercise. This makes sure you allow new ideas and out-of-the-box ideas. And then, of course, there are lots of mediums that you can use. How are you going to do your brainstorming? Is it going to be pen and paper? Luzanne and I love using A3 paper where we just scribble everything down. Do you prefer using a whiteboard, a flip chart, a laptop, a tablet? And then lastly, set a timer and stick to it. So if you allow yourself an hour to do your brainstorming, then make sure you stick to it. Then when you are done, let bygones be bygones, because sometimes we come up with ideas and the judgment creeps in, and focus on the actions that need to happen from here on out. Okay. The next skill we're looking at is communication. Listening is key. We often use the Nelson Mandela saying, be the last to speak as a leader. And attentive listening is really key to that. So attentively listen to everyone always. Be objective and non-judgmental. Think before you speak and be the last to speak. Choose the right medium. Is an email necessary? Can we do a phone call or a quick face-to-face? Could the meeting have been an email? Make sure you're brief but specific. We're definitely moving away from the days when things always needed to be a book to be communicated. Sometimes we can get a message across effectively through a few well-selected sentences. Do not skimp on details though, okay? Make sure you include all the important details. Check your body language and your spelling. So if it's face-to-face, make sure your whole body is communicating, not just your mouth and not just your brain. And when you're typing, make sure you check your spelling. And use the language that is appropriate for the other person. Now, I'm not just talking about whether you're choosing English, Afrikaans, German, or Shivambo, I said Afrikaans already, all the other languages. If you're speaking to a junior person, make sure you're using language words that they can understand. If you're speaking to a senior person, then by all means, use the more complex language. Next, research. Do a lot of research. Get perspectives from a variety of sources. Use more than Google. Google is nice and convenient. Sometimes it helps you. But if you're making a tough decision, Google doesn't have all the answers. Consult books, people, apps. Think out of the box with your research. How else can you get information? Then analyze the data. So you've got piles and piles of research, but it's time to select and be picky. Search wide and far to gain a broadened insight. When you think you have enough to look for more, when you think you have enough, look for more. Spend time searching through data. This is not a waste of time. Making sure you're using the right data is not a waste of time. It may feel like it, might feel like you could do more productive things, but growing your information base, your knowledge is really, really important. The bigger your database, the more accurate your analysis will be. When doing the analysis, ensure you look at it from different perspectives. Creativity and innovation. Fostering innovation means being open to new ideas, technology, and unexplored areas. Create an environment that is conducive to this. Forecasting. So this is the lovely thing about analyzing, is that you can predict the future, hopefully. If you've done it well, if your research and data analysis are good, you can start predicting. Analytical skills include forecasting from prior experiences, data, and research, predicting what will happen after working through what has happened. Administrative, organization, and planning skills. Make sure you write it down, okay? Because once you've done your research, your data analysis, and your forecasting, you now come up with your plan. And it needs to be written down. Make sure your plan meets your organizational strategy and mission. And execution ready plan covers accountability, who's responsible for it, financial success, have you done a budget, the energy and the focus. Troubleshooting and problem solving, something we definitely can put more effort into. Start with staying calm, avoid hasty decisions and jumping to conclusions. I often see when other people are involved, people are quick to make assumptions and draw conclusions on those assumptions. Talk about it, be aware of your biases, and we're going to discuss a few biases that you should be aware of when problem solving, especially when working with people and with your team. So a confirmation bias, this is the tendency to seek and choose solutions that fit with a preconceived idea of how the problem should be solved. So maybe you've got a disciplinary issue and you always think disciplinary issues should be solved with warnings, but maybe there's a different solution to the problem. You could look at investigating the behavior and seeing exactly where it's coming from. Is it a symptom or a problem? Make sure you don't just go with that confirmation bias. An overconfidence bias. This is when an insufficient range of options is identified, or when the chosen situation is not measured against factual information because of our confidence in our own judgments. So here I like, trying not to name drop and shame here. We've all heard of the fake news going around. There are many people who are super confident in one source of news information, okay? Make sure you're not that person, and that you do not put too much confidence in one source. Look at multiple sources and multiple perspectives. The halo effect. This leads us to make assumptions about others based on a single trait we have witnessed. She's always cheerful or friendly, so she can't have caused this problem. Often with white-collar crimes, they're like, oh no, but he's been in business for so long. He would never do fraud. He's so successful. Why would he do fraud? Why would he steal money? So it's something we tend to idolize people too quickly. I don't say don't trust people because it's really important to have faith in others, but just do so cautiously. And then the final bias is the bandwagon effect. This compels us to take the same course of action that others have taken. This is where perspectives help. I think for all the biases, looking at things from a different perspective, opening your eyes, seeing the world through other people's eyes really, really helps. Okay. And then finally, we have reporting, your reporting skills. So once you've done your research, your data analysis, your forecasting and planning, you need to communicate it somehow, and reporting is the best tool for that. This is how you show your analytical skills and all the work you have done. Okay. Are we all good? That was a lot of talking. So I just want to check in with everyone. You're all good. You're all happy. Before we move on to the next section. Yes, I'm seeing thumbs up. Okay. So what impacts your analysis? What do you need to be aware of when you're doing an analysis? The order that I'm giving here, as you can see, it's a circle. They all impact each other, so you just need to be aware of them. This is not like a hierarchy where this one's more important than that one. It's a circular thing. They all impact each other, varying degrees depending on the situation. So your values are your beliefs that motivate your behavior and your decisions. They are the core of analyzing a situation. You will always make decisions based on your personal values. I like using the example of valuing cannibalism. So if that floats your boat, then yeah, that's how you'll make your decision. To eat a friend for breakfast. But yes, your values definitely are very important core of decision making. The impact of your decision will influence your analysis. How does it impact you? How does it impact those close to you? Will someone close to you be harmed? How does it impact society at large? The environment? Are these things important to you? Are these things important to the decision you're making? Experiences. Previous experiences impact how we make current and future decisions. Here we need to be aware that we are not letting our fear and insecurities resulting from previous experiences impact our future decisions. So what's happened in the past can impact how you make choices in the future. We see people with fears all the time, holding back, not someone who's been bitten by a dog, not going close to a dog. Someone who's been in a car accident, being fearful. So you need to make sure that you're using your experiences correctly. Your personal ethics. It's your definition of what is good and bad, right or wrong. Our personal ethics, like our values, will always vary. What's right or wrong to one person is not necessarily right or wrong to another. Ethical decisions lead to ethical behaviors and are a great foundation for good business practice. So do you discuss ethics in your business, or is that a key part of how you run the show? In his book, Making Sense of the Organization, Wick says, the essence of wisdom is in knowing that one does not know, in the appreciation that knowledge is fallible, in the balance between knowing and doubting. Sometimes you need to listen to strong gut feelings. It is, however, important to be aware of your biases and make sure that your gut feeling is not just a bias in disguise. Are you really listening to your body? Last but not least, your analysis is influenced by facts. A fact is a piece of true information, something known to have happened. But we're not going to get all philosophical about that. We've discussed fake news already, and sources. So I think we've covered like the research parts fairly well already. So what can you do to improve your analytical skills? You can ask questions. We are often afraid to ask questions. A lot of society believes kids should be seen and not heard. So the inquisitive nature of human beings is suppressed when we're children. And you see it in a lot of adults that they're not willing to ask questions. But it is so important. We had to cancel an event recently at the last minute, and no one really asked why. And I explained it was above my grade decision. And I was so grateful when one of our team members came to me and was like, what happened? Why? I really wanted to go and take part. And I was so grateful for his braveness in coming to question me. He just wanted to understand the situation. He didn't want to belittle me or anything. But it was really led to a good conversation. So we need to be more open to asking questions. Being curious allows you to explore different viewpoints. When you're asking questions, you can get information from different people and understand why they make their decisions, how they make their decisions. And this habit wires your brain to do more analytical thinking. The next skill is observation. Watching people. I love it if I'm at a beach and just sitting there and seeing what people are doing, how they're interacting. Look at situations from other people's views. Just sit down and look. I was in a training recently where they said you should manage by walkabouts. So what we often observe in larger organizations is that the managers sit close in their office, their staff in open areas, and they don't really interact. The managers don't really know what's going on because they can't see, they're not observing. So they can't provide a good analysis of problems, right? Look for the small details and use all your senses. You have 5 of them, they're so awesome. Consider the connections and patterns you can see. Test yourself. There are numerous free analytical skills tests online, and you can use these tests and to identify your weak points, which areas you need to improve on. Play logic games. Fun, you see? Improving yourself doesn't always have to be hard work. Play chess, Sudoku, crossword puzzles, word searches, board games. I love the app Elevate. It's a free cell phone game and it tracks your skills improvements. So, and it's really fun. Read more. Reading helps you to see other people's perspectives without fear of judgment. And if you surround yourself with non-judgmental people, you can talk about it. It can help you see things from an even wider perspective. And here I want to add, don't just stick to one style of reading. So I know like romance novels or action novels or thriller novels. There are all these different categories, self-help books. Widen your area of reading. Don't just read the same kind of style of book, because then you're picking up the same information. Look at books differently and see, can I maybe enjoy this? Can I just read it to gain perspective, but not enjoy it? That's okay. And then finally, I ask you to challenge yourself. Challenge yourself every day. Try something new. Join a debate club. Try a new sport. Take up a new skill. Attend one of our free trainings like you're doing today. Embrace lifelong learning. Keep working on your math skills. I know a lot of us, I'm totally guilty of it. When I left school, I stopped maths. Like, I am not a huge fan of maths, but I was really good at it. I got it. The logic made sense to me. And I should definitely have kept those skills up when I left school. All right. What's important with all of these tools that you're using is reflection. Analyze yourself on your analytical skills. Journal, test yourself. Don't be too harsh either. Just gain knowledge on yourself and be understanding and kind, and know which areas you need to improve yourself. Okay, so we're coming to the end of our presentation, and I'd like to give you guys a little bit of homework. Try and use the 7 steps that we shared with you earlier to make a tough decision in your life at the moment. I know a lot of people are tightening the budgets, so maybe you could use it for that. That's like an important one. See where you can cut, what you can cut on. But try and use the 7 steps, and feel free to pop us an email. You guys should all have my cell phone number. It's in the email signature. You can also pop me a WhatsApp and I'll gladly engage with you. All right. And we have come to the end of our presentation. A Q&A. Has anyone got any questions, comments, suggestions, ideas? Thanks for the claps. I see people still joining. Okay. So if you're all happy, you guys are welcome to pop me an email with questions. Ulrich says, thank you for a very insightful presentation, Nicole. Your time is highly appreciated. Thanks for sharing your knowledge. It's a huge pleasure, Ulrich. Katla, great session. Thank you. Lincia, very informative. Thank you. Hope, quite a master class. Thank you a lot. Thanks for the amazing session from Frida. And lots of thank you. It's a huge pleasure, everyone. Eliphas is asking if we can share the presentation. We do not share the slides. However, we put the recording on our YouTube channel, and we will share that link once it's up. Yeah, it's a huge pleasure. It's a pleasure, everyone. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. It's a huge pleasure.